I shoot to survive is because photography makes me really comfortable. My name is Anson Tang. I've been shooting film or photography in general about 17 years for now, and I'm turning 35 this year. And what I've learned is the window light, the softness, the way that a person maybe stand next to the window. So this kind of look is something that I love. Waking up like 5 a.m. on a weekend without knowing why, but get to learn about how to see lights. One of the photos that is hanging on the wall in my home is one of my favorite. I was deeply inspired by the look of film, and then I started to sell all of my DSLR cameras and then change everything into just one camera, the Leica camera. I think at the point that I take it really seriously is that because I met my Sifu, I would say it's in Cantonese, the master. His name is Tang, and he got multiple awards in Sydney, and he also has his work hanged in the National Gallery in Sydney as well. How I started, I met him a website that no longer exists, which is like a fans club, the forum, and we had a chat, and then we decided to just came out for coffee, not knowing why. But then I get to learn about how to see lights, how to judge different things on the street. The very important thing that he taught me about is for homeless people, because the home for them is the streets. So if you want to take pictures of homeless people, you need to ask them. For me, and also how to understand light, so the window light, the softness, the way that a person maybe stand next to the window. So this kind of look is something that I love. I think I started taking it seriously, that what I said in 2010, and then later on I started working after graduating from university, and the work itself is very busy, and I got really upset about working overtime, and I don't really have chance to take photographs. So at a point of time that I sold everything literally. I only have, I would say I have a Fujifilm X-E1. At the point of time, I went to visit my Sifu again, Frankie, and he said, just open the dry cabinet and pick whatever you want. So I picked, now you see my Leica M2 at that time, and then a Summicron 35, and then we went to Melbourne and took the photos that I also hang on the wall right now. So that is a moment that changed, because I plan to not take any photographs anymore. But that in that point of time, when I pick up photography again, there's a magic that gives me energy. So my wife always joke about me saying that if you feel sick, if you have stomach, just hold your camera, you'll be fine. And then I keep shooting and then change my photography styles. So I started as a portrait or street photographer, and then later on I slowly moved to street photography. So I remember at 2017, around that time, the hype of doing street photography, and I learned about the Magnum photographer, Alex Watt, the different layerings, and which inspired me to just pack my own stuff and go to different places. Like at the time, I went to Cuba, I went to Sri Lanka, I went to Myanmar, all these places, just with the film camera, and took a bunch of films. I'm so happy that my Leica M2 is still with me. And I've been trying different new things like the Widelux. So the Widelux could take something that is totally different from an X-Pen. I still have the X-Pen 2, which I think that is a very nice camera, but for the creativity purpose, I'm trying to Widelux now. So I think the Widelux is probably my favorite right now, because it takes something that is, I can't imagine. It has some sort of, cinematic distortion that is so interesting and unpredictable, and the quality is amazing. And I heard Jeff Bridges, he's trying to bring back this camera to life. In, I think, 2021-ish, I went to Singapore to visit my friend. So that's the first time that I tried the M9 monochrome. I've heard a lot of good things about that camera. I was impressed. But then later on, I didn't really get one. But the monochrome idea has been sticking in my head for quite some time because I always have a soft spot about black and white. So this year I finally want to try a monochrome, so the M10M monochrome. So I tried the camera and I was really impressed with the black and white images. And then I decided to buy that camera. I love that camera and is pushing my creativity further and further because you get to use the camera at night at f8. So it's different, it's surreal. You can use the ISO up to maybe 10K or even 100K. I'm recently in love with the photographer, which is Arnold Newman. So Arnold Newman maybe not like so famous that or popular that everyone would know, but he's a very good environmental portrait photographer. What differentiates maybe just in my own terms is portrait and environmental is the environment that he used or he shaped to match with that person's personality and character is so amazing that I never feel bored looking at his photos. I love cinematic films like Andrei Tarkovsky, which I didn't mention as a famous photographer, but he's one of my favorite, at least a film director. And I always look at their work, like Stanley Kubrick, all these movies, to try to mimic or have some sort of elements in my photography. So reading and watching movies is a must. And then the other one is I would travel, of course, but I would spend more time in a certain area because if I have money, if not an object anymore, I'll just stay in maybe a community or zone for at least maybe months so that I can blend in within this community and take some memorable photos that in the end I can show them. Because I think photographs is something not just me, myself, enjoy it, but I also want to share it with others so that they know what's the purpose of the photography and they would enjoy the moment we share together as a memorable one of the important pieces in their life. To a place called La Perouse in Sydney. I take a cigarette because I like that mood, the smoke, and he really get into that sort of character to show that personality and the of that person. Yeah, the way that the girl look at me, she's so confident and comfortable that holding a necklace of her, she's kind of like protected by her, and I'm nobody to everyone. I'm just in her soul, and that look just marked my journey to be portrait-driven as a photographer. I tried to compose it in the S form so that it's more balanced with a dog and a man. So the story was I explained that at the time I sold most of my cameras, and now I took that with my M2 with a Summicron, which I love it, and then this moment cannot be replicated because that marks my kind of like a mental journey at the time. And then I think in 2019 I went back to this place, tried to check out whether I can see this dog and this old man again, which never happened again. So it's kind of like once. I took this in Kyoto. I was using a Widelux, which a lens that I love so much. And so every time when I look at these photographs, I would just remind myself that I like a portrait, and this is the candid, and the way that how I show the character to my audience and people that look at my photographs is authentic. So this is one of my favorite. This one also is my recent favorite. So I also have it hanged on my wall. I would say this describes the distance between people. We're sitting so close together. However, they're two strangers. They don't know each other, but maybe they have interesting stories in their life, but never get a chance to speak to each other. So I liked how it is composed as a kind of like asymmetrical, so to bring out the mood. Yeah.